ever go on vacation and somehow end up at the center of a mystery.
That has a whole country convinced you're dead.
Oh, wow.
That's what happened to this American tourist, Douglas Wyckoff.
We're diving into the Majavatn Mystery. It's this real-life cold case from Norway in the 1970s.
Okay.
And it's really going to show us how unreliable eyewitnesses and media can be.
Even back then, even before the internet.
It's amazing how, even now, all these years later.
This case really shows how we can misinterpret things. How we get caught up in a story.
And we think we know something, and it's not quite right.
Right, and it makes you think, like, what else?
Don't we know?
Exactly. Picture this, right? 1971, You've got this tiny village in Norway, beautiful scenery, and a body
is found by the railway tracks near this place called Majavatn.
Oh.
And all they have are some clothes and the underwear.
Had a German label.
That's a starting point, right?
Right.
I mean, forensics back then.
It wasn't exactly what it is today.
No.
So you're really relying on,
physical descriptions, whatever little things they found on the body.
Right, exactly.
So enter our mystery man, Douglas Wyckoff.
Okay.
He's an American tourist who disappeared around the same time.
And get this, he was so fascinated by Norway.
He actually worked in their fishing industry to support his travels.
Wow, that's dedication.
Right.
That's really getting into the culture.
Talk about cultural immersion, right?
Yeah.
But here's where it gets crazy.
Okay.
The police are under pressure to solve this case.
Right. They find a photo of Wyckoff from a few months earlier.
And he's wearing similar clothes to what the victim had.
Oh, interesting.
And Wyckoff was over 6 feet tall. Pretty unusual for back then.
So they're working with limited
We
information.
could go public, and they say it's Wyckoff. He's dead.
Oh, no.
And the newspapers, they go crazy with it.
They even start theorizing why he would take his own life.
Wow.
Can you imagine being declared dead?
Just because of a mistaken identity?
I mean, it just sends chills down your spine to think about it.
It's a bit much, right?
It is?
But there's a twist.
Okay.
Months after he's declared dead.
Wyckoff sends a Christmas card.
From Austria. He's alive.
He's alive.
And the media had to, backtrack.
Wow.
But the damage was done, right?
The damage is done.
There's really some...
So if it wasn't Wyckoff, who was this man found in Majavatn?
That's a great question.
And that's where we've got to bring in another character in this whole story. It really makes you wonder about all those missing person cases out there,
It does, doesn't it? Like, what if they never got the ending right?
Exactly, exactly.
So we've got this poor, misidentified American tourist.
Douglas Wyckoff, alive and kicking.
But the question still hangs there. Who was this man found by the railway?
Well, good news is, years later...
They actually identified the victim.
They did.
Yeah, through Interpol.
Wow.
The international police.
Right.
And it turns out...
It was a Latvian refugee named Andris Brzin.
A Latvian refugee in Norway.
He was living in Germany, actually.
Okay, in Germany.
But still ending up dead in rural Norway.
This is Cold War spy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got all the elements.
So who was this Brzin guy?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know much.
Real.
We know he was born May 22nd, 1944,
Okay.
making him 27 when he died,
So young.
and that he'd fled Latvia, which,
Was part of the Soviet Union, yeah.
Exactly. So he's escaping Soviet control, end up dead.
You can't help but think there's a bigger story there.
You can't. And it gets even more interesting, right?
Oh, no, more.
Remember, it's 1971. Cold War is going strong.
Right, peak Cold War.
And while this Wyckoff thing is happening, there's another search going on.
What's that?
A German family looking for their son, Erwin Stubb.
Erwin Staub.
Disappeared in 1945, right after World War II.
1945. That's over 25 years before our Majavatn Mystery.
A long time.
That can't be a coincidence, can it?
It's definitely curious. See, Erwin was last seen in Copenhagen. He would have been about 5.
Okay.
And he was being handled by this organization, the Nordic Society.
The Nordic Society. Remind me about them.
So they were around before and during the war, promoting Scandinavian culture.
Right.
But they were also very much into Nazi ideology, that whole racial purity thing.
Oh, no, not good.
And they had links to the Lebensborn program.
Lebensborn, that's chilling. For those who don't know, that's where the Nazis took kids.
Yeah.
Kids they thought were racially valuable and gave them to German families.
Horrific, really.
Yeah.
So we have this connection, however tenuous.
Right. Right?
Could Erwin have been a Lebensborn child? Were they moving him?
And could this somehow, and why how, be linked to Brzin, our Latvian refugee?
It's like all these threads, the war, the Cold War, people displaced, all tangled up.
And if it couldn't get weirder...
The sources mention this forensic expert involved with Irwin's case.
Okay.
Guy named Moritz Furtmeyer.
Furtmeyer, yes.
And something about this guy seems off.
He was doing pioneering work, even back then.
What do you mean?
Facial recognition.
In the 70s.
He had a method to age progress images, which he used on Irwin.
Wait, they could do that back then? No Photoshop or anything?
It makes you wonder what else he was capable of.
Okay, so we've got this super skilled, maybe shady forensic guy.
Looking for a maybe kidnapped child.
Who may or may not be connected to our Latvian John Doe.
My head's spinning. What's next? So, okay, we've got all these pieces, right?
This misidentified American, a Latvian refugee nobody really knows.
This whole missing German child thing could be Lebensborn.
And this forensic expert, Furtmeyer, who might be more than he'd seen.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
How do we make sense of it all?
Well, we may never have all the answers, right?
Right.
But we can look for connections, for patterns.
I'm with you. What kind of patterns?
Well, think about the context. 1971.
Cold War.
Exactly. Cold War.
Espionage, all that.
Right. A whole different world.
So you're thinking maybe Wyckoff? Berzin? Even stop.
They were caught up in something much bigger.
It's possible.
More than just a mistaken identity, you mean?
What if Berzin's flight from Latvia, it wasn't just about escaping?
What if he knew something or got involved with dangerous people?
And that could tie into this Erwin Staub kid.
Maybe he was a pawn, leverage in some Cold War game.
Like something out of a spy thriller or something.
It makes you think, how many other mysteries are hidden like this? And remember how certain the authorities were about Wyckoff.
They were convinced.
Built a whole case on basically nothing.
And it makes you think, even today, with all the information we have,
we still get things wrong, don't we?
All the time.
We latch onto a story and don't always dig deeper.
It's a good reminder. Critical thinking is so important.
This Majavatn Mystery, it really makes you question everything.
It does.
The official story, what we think we know.
And the truth could be way more complicated.
It's stranger than fiction, right?
Absolutely. This deep dive has been wild, I'll give you that.
Started with a case of mistaken identity.
Ended up in Cold War intrigue.
We barely scratched the surface.
And here's one more thing for everyone listening to think about.
Okay.
Wyckoff. He wasn't the only American misidentified in Norway back then. Yeah, there was another case. A woman this time.
Wow.
A year earlier. Mistaken for someone else.
That's quite a coincidence.
Coincidence? Or is there something more going on?
Seems even a vacation could turn into a spy novel back then.
You never know.
Until next time, keep asking questions, everyone.
Never stop exploring those shadows of history.